is we are here to learn, not to be judged. This, to me, is what life is all about. Life is all about learning, not judging, not failure, not what you didn't accomplish, what you didn't do. Because you don't have to ever give up. I used to study the stock market with a really good friend of mine. He was in his early 80s. And he said, you only lose money in the stock market when you sell the stock. He said, you might buy a stock and it goes down, but he said, you only really lose the money when you sell it. And you only really start learning when you give up. When you give up on yourself. So never give up on yourself. And understand that you're here as a learner, a lifelong learner. You're not here to be judged by everyone. You're not here to judge people. Why? Because heavy is the head that wears the crown. This is a quote that's been said for the monarchy. When you have the crown, it's heavy, it's made out of gold, right? But I would use it in this example as being judgmental. If we're judgmental on ourselves, if we're judgmental on others, if we're judgmental on the world, it's time that we're taking away from good things and we're putting heaviness on ourselves. So how is it easy to perform when you have that? You hear stories of like mixed martial arts fighters, boxers, athletes. Like they literally go to these camps for 3 months to focus on their training. They're away from their family, they're away from their friends, they're away from any distractions. They don't have time to judge because it takes away from their performance. Scoreboarding, comparing negativity, competitiveness, and morality. When I used to teach relationship classes, I always said this was really important to understand about judging. It's very natural for us to compare. Remember I said earlier, our thoughts are inevitable. We're going to inevitably have certain thoughts. But I want us to understand that just because our thoughts are inevitable, we don't want to buy into them. So realizing that like if someone is down in life, or maybe we feel like we're doing more and we're like, oh, I'm doing more than you, I'm doing this, you're doing less, da 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 da. That's ultimately not healthy for our lives. We got to think of better ways to come about, So like, I think the example we used earlier about the laundry and stuff like that is how can we have that conversation in a healthier way? Problem solving, right? And understanding that there's strength in numbers. A lot of our friendships, a lot of our coworkers, our family, like there's a lot of strength in having those relationships. Of course, there are times in life where we disconnect from people, but by self-regulating, by understanding our emotions and our subconscious, the power of our thoughts and feelings, we can have a bigger tribe, we can have a healthier work environment, we can have all of those wonderful people that are around us. Sometimes you see in life people go through so much stuff that they become so isolated. When I see someone, it's like that story of the lion with the thorn in their finger. It's like they're hurt. They're hurt. That's why they're acting that way. They've isolated themselves because they've alienated all their family, their friends, their coworkers, and they're hurt. Have you ever heard that saying, hurt people, right? So we want to be healthy because it helps us have a better social network and more. There's more strength in those connections. And then again, your body is an emotional filter. Emotional disturbances, especially suppressed emotions, can cause dis-ease.